Welcome.
And how many of you actually listen to one of the podcasts on geekcast.fm?
Really?
Wow. All
This is
right.
our entire population.
We'll
for
be
the
signing
entire-
autographs later.
So why don't we just start? Maybe we should start by introducing ourselves, and we'll start over there and say what show we're on.
Because I don't want to.
My name is Vinny O'Hare. I'm an internet marketer / affiliate manager / everything. I'm on the Affiliate ABC's podcast with Loxley.
What do you talk about on that show?
We talk about teaching affiliates, new affiliates, what to do and what not to do, how to get traffic to their sites, how to
Mostly
pick a
what
good
not
affiliate
to do.
program. Yeah, what not to do, since I've done a lot of that.
I'm Trisha Lynn Favre, and Mike and I do Affiliate Marketing Fanatics, and we just talk about things from, I'm an affiliate manager, so we talk about things from an affiliate manager and affiliate point of view, because Mike is an affiliate, so.
My name is Scott Parent, and I work for Media Trust, and Media Trust produces a podcast called Relevantly Speaking, which is a weekly 5-minute or so video series that just covers stories and trends in the performance marketing industry and folds in things like social media and how that's relevant to our
You
industry.
use your hands too much in those practices.
Sure, really? I should stop.
I'm joking.
I'm Mike Buchel. I do Affiliate Marketing Fanatics with Trisha. I'm affiliate, a publisher. That's about it.
I'm Debbie Carney, also known as Loxley Online, and I'm an affiliate manager and a merchant, and we have a new jewelry line. we're doing market research this week on, and I do the Affiliate ABC's podcast with Vinny, and I also do a podcast for artists called Make Your Mark, and we're going to be launching one called Merchant ABCs. Because there's a lot of merchants out there that are like, what do I do? How do I start? And should I even have an affiliate program?
Hi, I'm Lisa Riolo, and I'm known as Lisa Riolo Online. No. And I am a panelist on The Spew, and also an occasional guest on other people's podcasts, because I just really like to talk.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm on the original Geekcast crew, and occasionally I sub for affiliate things. So, and I don't think I've had any other shows on the Geekcast network, as far as I can remember.
Daily Flip.
Oh yeah, Daily Flip was one of the first shows that was on there as well.
That's
I
right.
forgot.
And look for Jim's interview on Relevantly Speaking that we shot
Yes.
yesterday in the coming weeks.
Thank you.
Nice.
And I'm Lisa Piccarelli. I'm an online marketing consultant, and I do the affiliate thing with Sean Collins, and we've been doing it for about 2.5 years, and I think that yesterday was the first day that we missed in the whole time that we've been doing it. I also used to do the Geekcast, which was one of the original ones. I was on that with Jim and Sam Harrelson and Sean Collins. I'm a panelist on The Spew, which is a podcast for women in affiliate marketing, about women in affiliate marketing, and there are about 8 of us that rotate through that, and I guest on a whole bunch of other podcasts too.
So I think Sean's not here, but he'll want a shameless plug here. If you want to be on the Geekcast network, the whole point of doing it was you can put your show on there. If you have an idea for a show, you can put a show on there. It's really easy to do. I mean, they're adding people all the time, so go add a show.
It's not that easy. The top
Sure it
be
is.
honest.
It is
to appeal
easy.
to geeks.
It's that
That's
easy.
the only.
Those of
That's
us
the
that
only
technically
requisite.
challenged, it was a little harder
has
than it
to
looked.
appeal to geeks.
No, I'm teasing.
You guys, it's easy. Anyone can do it. You should go sign up because it's a good network.
But
It's
they don't
getting a
want
lot
like
of traffic.
a cooking podcast. They want. they
Well,
want
one of the
affiliate
biggest things
marketing podcast.
when he first bought that domain.
I would listen to Cooking for Geeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean asked me to put my comic book podcast up. I said, I don't think it's the right audience.
Yes, it is.
Well, when when we were first doing the show, we're like, we need a place to put it because there wasn't a place like that. So now it's starting to get traction, and you guys are putting all these awesome shows on there that I listen to all the time, and I think I'd like to see more perspective from people who aren't in the industry on there.
You can
Start a
also
show.
you can also hit us up for guests because I love having people on the show.
Yeah, Affiliate ABCs is always looking for guests too. So or people that want to just ask us questions and tell us what to podcast about.
So I guess the purpose of this was to give you an opportunity to ask questions. So
That is so wrong. The purpose
Come
was
on.
originally for Sean to
was
stand
not
on.
for us to all sit up here
Was
and
for
talk.
Sean to sit on stage and pretend he was Kevin Rose, indignation, and drink a beer.
I thought the purpose was for me to have free beer.
That
to sit
was
here
the
and
whole
drink.
purpose, and now he's not even here.
He's not here, but his Miller Lite is.
So who has a question? Anybody have anything they want to ask? Because
We're
it's
just gonna
going to be
sit here
really
until
boring
one
if you
of you
don't. We're
ask.
just going to talk about
Yeah.
what we want.
There you go. Question.
Is there another mic for the audience, or this is it?
Yeah, you guys pass it
Cool.
amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Hi. How do you find affiliate sites in your specific niche,
How do you find affiliate sites in your niche?
in your vertical?
You're an
Google?
affiliate or you're
I'm a merchant.
you're a merchant, so you're looking for affiliates?
Yes.
Google.
I did try Google, but the problem is a lot of, like the keywords that were targeted are, it's going to our competitors. So there's no way they're going to work for us. So how can I find new affiliates?
Find out who your competitors' affiliates are.
I mean, through just link capture and Arelis and
There's also a really powerful tool called Syntrix.
okay.
Syntrix, it's SYNTRYX.
But isn't Syntrix like 10 grand though?
Oh wow.
Come on.
It's easier to
expensive,
go to
right?
Google and do a
Oh.
search in your niche and find, go through the pages until you find the people that are your competitors' affiliates or that have websites in your niche, even if they aren't affiliates yet, and then just contact them and tell them how their website would be a good fit. Don't do anything canned. Do a personalized email.
So I have a couple. Can you tell us what kind of a merchant you are and what kind of?
I
Business.
work for Trump University. It's real estate investing
Okay.
courses, books, audio courses, and
Okay.
so we do lead generation and rev share.
Right. So you definitely can use the search functionality on, for example, Twitter. You can find groups that are in the different social networks. And probably one of your biggest opportunities is to actually go to your customer base and find out if any of them are involved in internet marketing. So you can do a survey or a quiz, questions. Do you have friends that might be interested? We would be willing to pay you a fee. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. And then another thing that I really recommend is to meet up with other merchants and ask them how they found theirs. Because even though it's not the same business as yours, that they usually will have some good techniques, especially on the cheap.
Now I see a lot of blogs, but there's tons of them, right? So how do I determine which one is really getting good qualified traffic? I mean, I know it's, you can get an estimate of their traffic volume, right? Through Traffic Estimate or what have you. But how do I know that website is actually getting qualified good traffic?
Compete.com. Try compete.com.
Okay.
To look and see. We can find out what their stats are. But anything else? I mean, you guys are the
Actually,
pros
if
up here. You guys are supposed to be
you really
dishing.
don't care
Come on.
if they're getting a lot of good quality traffic. You want them to send you, even if they are only getting a small amount of traffic, but it's targeted to real estate and it's people that, are looking for a real estate investment course. You can have a blog that's getting 50 hits a day that sends you 2 people a week that are extremely qualified instead of just going after the big guy that's sending you 10,000 hits of people that aren't interested at all.
But isn't that what she's really asking, though, is how do I find one of the 20 top guys who's got an email list of 1 million people, the super affiliates? And I think it's the wrong question that a lot of
Exactly,
people,
that's the wrong
and but I think that's what she's asking is how do I find those big super affiliates?
No,
and
you want
how do
a
you
lot
find
of
them?
little
Well,
affiliates.
The other thing too is that any small affiliate can be your super affiliate. They may be, not that active in other programs that maybe aren't as qualified. If they think, if they're running a real estate blog, for example, and they think that a home decor site might work and they're advertising for that, they could be a very small affiliate for that merchant. But they could be a huge affiliate for you because it's more targeted. So give the little guys a chance. And also Alexa, it's just alexa.com, right? Has all sorts of traffic data if you really want to check up on what kind of traffic they're getting, where they rank.
Hey, you know what? I got an idea. How about anybody who wants to ask a question, I'll open a beer and give you a glass of beer. Since Sean's not here, I say drink it all up.
Who
on
wants
him.
Sean's
So
beer?
I'm bringing yours to you right now. So who's next with a question?
There's only 12 beers.
Ask quickly.
You could also watch the PPC space. A lot of the top affiliates will be driving PPC traffic, so that might help as well. The pay-per-click ad space. Question first.
I don't know.
No question.
Think of a question.
Thank you. All right, who has a question?
I drink fast.
Jen.
I guess I'll ask you guys. Oh, we have one. Yes.
Thanks, John.
Do any of you have experience advertising an affiliate product through your podcast?
No, but I know someone who
You
does.
haven't done that, Vinny?
Yeah. That
Our product is ourselves.
Well, I was just going to say, so no, I know someone who has done that, that's promoted other products, but I would say that exactly what you just said. Say it.
When we do podcasts, it's to get people to, we're selling ourselves. We all have services to offer, and we want people to come and listen to us and trust us enough to join our affiliate programs. So we want, we're using podcasts to educate and to build a community.
Yeah, it's a personal branding thing. I mean, that's why Sean and I have done it for so long, and so that, that's really what it's all about.
Ah, come on. You can sell through your podcast.
No, you can, but that's not what most of them are for.
These guys are all, come on. I built an entire video show based around selling a product. I called it the Daily Flip, and the intent of
It's a
the
video
entire show
camera.
was just to sell flip cameras through my affiliate program. And I did. It's a video podcast. It's a video, but I did it last year. But
How did that
so
work?
to answer your question is, I made the whole show basically around a product, then used the product to film the show and did problem-solving information. And then at the beginning, at the end of the show, I led with my buytheflip.com. And I got to a point where I was the flip guy. People kind of knew me as the flip guy, and I still sell 20 or 30 of those things a week, just from the videos I did last year. And I make
bought mine
nothing
for
from
you.
them because their commissions are so horrible on Amazon. But
I bought
it
mine
works.
for you.
Did you? See? Who else bought a flip from me? Anyone? No one? Okay.
We were thinking about it.
Burned.
No, but
Connie
yeah,
has
you-
to ask a question because she came in late,
And she needs a beer.
and she needs a beer.
But definitely, if you're doing a podcast, audio or video, just like you would anything else, call to action at the end of it. And there's a friend of mine who's doing a podcast now called Coffee Nate, and he's a member of mine. And what he does is at the end of every show, he says, "Oh, by the way, one of my recommendations for this week's show is whatever coffee," and he puts the affiliate link right below the video embedded in his blog. And people are like, "Wow, that was a great show. I learned about this coffee. He talked about it. He drank it. He smelled it, and then they click on it and they go buy it." So.
Yeah, I got a question for anybody that really wants to answer this. It's more like input. As far as podcasting is concerned, especially you, Jim, what about video podcasts? Are we moving in that direction at all? Do you think it's an area of growth? Is it worthwhile to do one, or is it something you should stick with audio only?
Well, yeah, like I just said, the guy who's doing it now, Coffee Nate, is doing a video podcast every week. What I like about that is because he can show the coffee maker, he can brew a pot of coffee on camera, while he's talking, talk about the flavor, the smell he's getting from it, put it in a cup, sniff it, do the whole thing. So it's definitely visual, but audio or video, it really doesn't matter. I think just putting out, the Todd Crawford and Scott Jangro do a coffee cast that's just audio, so.
You can do, I've gotten a lot of feedback from people because I've asked them, should we do videos? And there are some topics that are better as just a podcast, and there are other topics that are better to include video. Or you can always do both. Once you've done the video, you offer the audio for the people that don't have time to sit there and watch it, but they just want to download it and listen to it while they're jogging.
And there are exceptions, but audio really serves you, I think, better if you have longer form content, like if you have a 30-minute or an hour-long show where you have guests, whereas video, a lot of people aren't necessarily going to sit at their desk and it's not as portable. People can take an audio podcast with them, while they're going running or to the gym or walking their dog and listen to it. Video requires your attention, so you want to do something that's really about the 5-minute range. You don't really want to do an hour-long video podcast because your level of viewership is going to drop off quickly.
One other little note about the length of podcasts is I know that a bunch of you do hour-long ones, but the feedback that I've gotten is that people really like a 15 to 20-minute podcast. So if I have one that goes an hour long, I break it into 4 pieces.
And I think you turned me on to Morning Coach, right? Was it you, Tim?
Yeah.
And the morningcoach.com, he's a surfer guy, right? He's not an internet marketer. He's not anything. He started a podcast. He goes online where he does a 10 to 15-minute podcast every single day. And he just talks about, hey, it's JB, and I'm telling you about how to live your life better. And it's kind of this whole surfer mentality, kind of good. It's really good positive energy. 12,000 people listen to that thing every single day. And he's number 1 on iTunes in self-help.
And is he monetizing?
Yeah, he's got a whole membership program, and the people come back and they buy, and they give him continuity every single month. So he does this real thing. It takes him 10 minutes, and then I think he goes to the beach and surfs for an hour or something, right?
No.
Or whatever, but you get the idea. I mean, he does this thing, people come listen, and then he monetizes on the back end through membership or however.
I have a question for everybody else here. How do you guys feel about transcribing videos? Because I've heard different things.
I've had people ask me to transcribe my podcasts because there are still people that...
videos or podcasts.
And videos are a little harder because how are you... If the content that you're talking about, you say, and now on the screen is... and the people can't see it. So video would be more difficult, but to transcribe your podcast is actually an excellent idea for SEO purposes, for content, and for the people who still don't want to listen to a podcast, but they will skim.
Somebody just entered the room.
Well, we don't transcribe ours for affiliate thing. We just do
He's
show
late.
notes. So we make sure that, if we talked about something and we have some links, and we often include extra things that
Yeah, we always do show notes.
So
And
we
that I
always
learned
make
from
sure
them.
we do that, but no transcription.
Right. We've learned
Somehow
show
you're
notes
not
from
up
Sean
here?
and Missy.
Sean.
You were never up here? Oh, these people all expected you to be
Yes.
here.
We didn't even know if we were in the right place until they brought in the Miller Lite. Then we knew we were in the right place.
We have a question, that's why.
Okay.
If you ask a question, you get a beer.
So what's your question, Connie?
Or if you own the show.
I need my beer for my question. No, you get the question, but you're after you ask the question.
Lisa's just going to stand
How
there
do
and
you,
wait.
with monetizing blogs, how do you figure out, do you try to do advertising according to what your subject is all the time, or do you accept other ads also, people that just want to, get the screen time?
Some of them in the show notes put in affiliate links to products that they've talked about during the show. I don't think...
She's talking about blogs, though.
Yeah, blogs.
So I haven't sold ads on my blog for about 5 years.
A lot of bloggers I know have podcasts, and it's pretty much intertwined.
Yeah. So I don't know what the question is.
I think it's the same as any... I think it's the same as any site. The more you can target, the better it is, and the more qualified the traffic's going to be.
I think the group up here aren't people that put ads on their websites, so that's why we are having...
That's not true. I did 5 years ago, and I'm going to do it again this year. I'm going to start selling ads on my blog again in the fall. So. Absolutely. I mean, what I tell people is to go out and I'm sorry, I mean, other people got takes. I tell people to go out and go out and find a sponsorship and make it as, if you're starting out and you're worried you can't find somebody, I always tell people, go out and give some months away for free. Give 2 to 3 months away for free to somebody and go, you don't want free advertising on my coffee niche podcast for the next 2 months? Then they're not going to say no. Then you go back to them and you sell it to them after.
Where do you draw the line, though? Like, do you do advertising where you promote products on your blog? Like, say, coffee, that you promote coffee just because they're an advertiser? Or do you just be honest and say, this is our advertiser, but their coffee's horrible?
Well, no, I mean, if you take the Gary Vee model, right? He says if a wine's bad, he says a wine's bad. He doesn't care. So, and I'm the same way. If I didn't like what it was, I'll say I didn't like it or whatever. And I think everyone should be that way. Transparency is what makes all this stuff work. So, yeah, absolutely.
And I think some of us are developing podcasts that we're going to do advertising on. So you want to build up a library before you go out and go to advertisers.
And that's another thing I'd like to make a plug for Geekcast.fm, because if you get sponsors, any of the revenue that you get from that, they're not taking it from you, they're letting you keep it. So that's an incentive for you to go out and get sponsorship or, you know, whatever you can do to monetize, because you keep the money.
So if any of you would like to sponsor any of our podcasts, you know where to find us.
Trump Educational.
Yes, where's the Donald? All right, another question from somebody who wants a beer? Come on.
We have to bribe.
We're just going to start calling people that we recognize if you don't ask questions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
All right. One thing that holds a lot of people back, myself included, from jumping into podcasting or video podcasting is the fear of making a mistake or appearing silly or stumbling
You
over
haven't listened to our podcast.
stumbling over yours. I know, but the point is there had to be a point at which you said, forget it, I'm just going to do it. And
Exactly.
how do
We
you
just
get
said,
over that?
Forget it, we're going to do it. Our first podcast, I was still in Vegas and he was in New York. We did it via Skype, and we just sat down and said, okay, let's talk. And, you know, we laughed about some things, made some jokes, and we didn't edit anything. I haven't edited any of our
It's actually the
podcasts.
silly part that draws more people in.
We get a
because
lot
they
of
realize
comments.
we're real.
Because you're real,
Good.
yes.
So I was gonna, it was about a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years ago, and Sean called me up and he said, you know, Lisa, why aren't you doing podcasting? Why aren't you doing video casting? And I had this like 20-minute conversation about why, all the reasons I couldn't do it. And it was, you know, nothing that I have to say is important. I don't really have any good information. What am I going to fill up 30 minutes with? And now you can't shut down at 30, which is bad. But I
You should
agree
have
it should
taken
be
the
shorter.
whole phone interview for a podcast.
But also, for me, it was the technical part of it. I literally was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know, you know. And so I watched some of Jim's videos with the, you know, I was like, oh, you just have to get this little camera, and actually good quality. But to honestly, what ended up making it work for me and was that step forward was participating with other people. Yeah. So first, I was fortunate enough to be asked to be a guest a few times. And I kind of got over some of it. I have a little more of a fear with the camera than I do just talking. But there was that, and then there was, you know, we got into the SPEW, and that was really helpful because someone else took on some of the production, and now we've been given the opportunity to take on the production and learn as we go. And so I have to say that it was taking that step, but also recognizing the fact that if you just have a normal conversation and you're willing to be helpful with people, you'll usually provide some valuable information. And that's really the same thing as a podcast. You're just having a conversation. Try to do it with someone else.
And if you do have issues about the technical stuff and you're concerned, Sean Collins actually posted a blog over a year ago, and I think it was like what I use to podcast or my podcasting tools, and he gives you a complete rundown of everything that he uses. And it's actually really pretty easy. It's sort of like once you do it once from a technical standpoint, you can do it again. And from a personal standpoint, I mean, I'm not shy about these sort of things, and I used to be in radio, so I don't have any issues about talking, obviously. But Sean and I mean, people love it that we just sort of like go back and forth, and the parts when we make mistakes or make fun of each other or whatever is exactly what you're saying, is what people
We're waiting for
like.
a train wreck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it is much easier to do a podcast with someone else than to do one by yourself. If you're doing one by yourself and you laugh at your own joke, that's kind of...
All right, everyone in the room team up and find a buddy,
Yes.
a new podcast buddy, and you can start a show and get signed up today.
I don't have any necessarily how-tos or how to take that first step. You kind of just have to take it. But I can say, from an encouraging standpoint, I used to do a podcast with Geekcast last year before the election on politics, where you actually had to take a side. And I can't tell you how successful that was for me, for attention, for notoriety, and everything else, even though I was taking one side over the other in a very, typically nasty subject that can get you a lot of enemies. So if you can do one about politics and it be successful for you, you guys can do one about anything, trust me.
I have a client he's an emergency medical technician site. And he got 3 people together and they talk about EMS stuff. And it's boring as hell, right? Unless you're like an ambulance driver, right? but it's the #1 podcast in the industry in 3 weeks, right? He's got thousands of people because there's millions and millions of people and nobody had done it yet. And it's growing every single week. They're getting like 1,000 new listeners every single week. And by the end of the year, you'll probably have 10, 20,000 listeners to this thing. And they're going to start selling ads in it. He's getting all kinds of traffic to his website. So anyone can do this stuff. It's so easy to do. And it's very powerful.
If you don't feel like you're the expert, then start an interview series and literally just start asking people and people almost always say yes. I don't think I've ever said no when someone said, will you come on our show? And they'll say yes, and they'll help you out. And a lot of times when I've been asked to be on some of the podcasts, they'll ask me to create the questions as the guest. So you don't even have to do that work in some instances, and it's amazing. So you don't have to do all the talking. You don't have to be incisive, insightful questions or whatever. Just ask someone to come on and interview them. And it'll really get you started, and then you can ask for referrals. Like, who else should I interview? You can ask the people that you know are listening, who would you guys like to hear come on to the show? So that's another great way to get started.
A reverse of that, too, is to, and I've done this with Sean, actually. I put out to people who listen to us and said, if you want to interview me, come on the podcast, and I'll let you be the interviewer, and you can ask me questions.
Reach for the stars, too. I mean, you would be amazed at how many people will come on your show. I mean, people, big-time celebrities, billionaires, you would be really amazed that they'll be like, yeah, I'll give you 15 minutes, a half an hour, no problem. And that's good stuff. I mean, you get some of that Guy Kawasaki who's like, yeah, sure, I'll come on here, talk to you for half an hour. Just don't think that you can't reach people because they will do this stuff. The world has really changed in regarding all of this stuff.
Just call Jim. He'll come on your show anytime.
Yeah,
Just
I'll
send
come on
out
any
an
show.
message on Twitter.
Peter Shankman, if you read his book, he said that no matter what, when the press calls, no matter what you're doing, you stop. And I took that to heart a couple years ago when I read his book. And no matter what, when anyone calls or whatever I'm doing, I stop everything I'm doing and I answer questions or I do an interview or whatever it is. Because it could turn out to be something huge, it could be something small, but it really does pay off in the end.
If you take your show on the road to do interviews, what tools do you bring with you? I mean,
Great question. Well, you should answer that, Scott.
Yeah.
For Relevantly Speaking, we actually have a pretty extensive production setup. I mean, we lug quite a bit of gear, and it usually falls on me to do that. So, traveling through airports and making sure your bags aren't overweight and carrying tripods and things, that's the extreme. You don't have to go to that level. I mean, because it's something that we brand with our company, we want it to have a certain level of professionalism, and that's something that's important to me.
we're on the amateur. We're talking amateur right now.
Exactly. So then the other side of that, you can bring a flip camera and walk around the show floor and do interviews that way as well.
Well, I mean, my understanding was that podcasting is radio, and it's not.
No.
No. All
Sean,
right.
what's the name of that little USB recorder that you have? Okay, and that was roughly price-wise?
About 200, wasn't it like $279 or $300 that you paid for that?
Yeah, I know that's not free, but that's not bad in terms of audio, and it's good quality. If you really are interested in going out and talking to people without Skype or the help of a computer with you, then that works just fine. You could also, if you have a laptop, take your computer with you, and some have really good mics on them. A lot are bad, but some are really good. So you could always try that and get a free software like Audigy or
Audacity.
Audacity.
Thank you. Audacity, and just record it straight into there with you both sitting in front of a laptop.
But
So-
most of us don't even do, like if you're saying remotely, if I'm interviewing somebody in Australia, I'm not going to Australia to meet with them.
Right.
We're just doing it over Skype. Or there are other web conferencing softwares that you can both call into that you can record the conversation. So don't let thinking that you have to go to the person that you're interviewing stop you from asking someone for an interview. And as far as portability, Jim took his flip to the dentist, and you know, he took his flip everywhere and just did podcasts wherever he felt like it.
Yeah, I think most of us are not in the same area as our co-hosts. Well, But you weren't when you started.
Exactly.
But you don't have to be next to somebody to record a podcast with them. You can get that same dynamic over Skype.
You know who does it really well is Jay Berkowitz. I don't know if he's here, but Jay's the master. So I bow to Jay. What Jay does is every presentation you'll see he's holding his audio device in his right hand and the mic in the left hand. He records the entire thing. So not only is he doing it live in front of people, he records the whole thing and then plays it back on his podcast, 10 Golden Rules podcast, or however he gives it out. I saw him give a podcast on the way in a cab yesterday to a party. He did a podcast with a friend of ours, Aaron, from Ask 500 People, in the back of a cab. So he's always got it with him, and you can do it from anywhere. And I've seen him do it everywhere, so even in a cab. So it's good content. There's always content. You're always going to meet somebody. As long as you just get in the mindset of creating content all the time, it works.
Hi, guys. Thanks for all the great info. I've got a three-part question.
But you don't
generally
get 3 beers.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, that's it. I'm
and
leaving.
From now on,
The
I
heck
have
with
listeners,
this.
so I'm not delivering. So if you ask
no,
a question,
no
tell
beer
me
for
you
me.
have a
Thank
beer.
you. Now, do you generally, the first part is, do you generally archive your podcasts? And if so, especially with video and stuff, that can take up a lot of bandwidth. So do you use a service, or do you just load it up to your server, or do you use a separate, do you use a service to back all that up?
Sean, come get a mic.
Well, that's why we're all associated with Geekcast.fm, and so the podcast that we do, we're FTPing the files, and they're being hosted, and I guess Sean can tell you exactly what's being used.
Yeah, we've got 2 different dedicated servers that we put the files on to distribute them, so we have a couple different boxes where we host all of the video and the audio for Geekcast.
So you archive everything, and you don't have any, because you all use it together, or we would, if we use the service, you guys would archive everything, and we wouldn't have a problem on, let's say, our website, because we ran out of, space.
Yeah,
it's all streaming off of our servers.
Yeah, the bandwidth's coming from his private dedicated server. If you're worried about bandwidth and you don't want to pay it, just go to Amazon S3. And
That's
upload
what
all
I
your
was
stuff
wondering about,
there.
yeah.
And at the very least, if you got 1 million listens to it, you'd probably pay $20 a month. I mean, it's really, really cheap. Just upload all of your media to Amazon S3. Another place I like is called Cashfly.com. They're very, very inexpensive ways to serve media.
And in terms of archiving, since we are all on Geekcast.fm, that's a WordPress powered site. So it runs like a blog. There are all those old episodes available for anybody to go and listen to. It's a plugin that's run on WordPress called PodPress, and so anybody can go back and listen to those to get that content that they maybe missed. And it also feeds to iTunes, and you can archive it on your own computer that way through iTunes.
Go back and listen to the classics.
The classics.
Yeah.
Well, and in our case, since we are like an ABCs type series, we need people to be able to go back to those first podcasts and be able to read them, or listen to them. So, yeah, your archives are gold. You build upon your previous podcasts to do your future ones.
Another question?
I thought we did.
Our Trump lady again.
Josh, up here. Forgot somebody?
One of the tricks I'll give you for having archives is I had done a series of motivational podcasts over time, and you know what I said? These are good. I said I'm just going to take them, and I created a site called 5daybootcamp.com. I liked it. People liked them, so I combined them into this thing called 5daybootcamp.com, and I just built a landing page, and I said sign up for my email list, and every day for a week I'll send you a podcast. And they're just archived stuff I had already done before. The whole thing took me an hour. And now people sign up every day. It auto emails a new podcast link to them every single day, and they listen to it, and I use it to generate leads for my business. And it's a great way to just package up your old archives and deliver them in some way and get at least an email sign up from it.
Here's my question. Should you allow, as a merchant, right, should you allow affiliates to bid on your brand terms?
That's a whole session of itself.
Yeah, that's a whole session unto itself.
The really short answer is that it depends on your brand, but that could fill like 2 hours.
Can you rephrase that in a podcast?
I was going to say, how about we say, should merchants be intimidated or allow their affiliates to create video or audio podcasts in order to help them sell? Since
Oh,
there
yeah,
is a
totally,
since
yeah.
there is a branding element,
We
what
totally
kinds of concerns?
love our affiliates that, oh, they left. We totally love our affiliates that make their own videos to review our products. There's a lot of affiliates that use podcasts and video to review products. If you want to, you can put in your terms of service that you get to review them first. But in general, because they want to sell your product, they're not going to trash you. They're going to tell you, they're going to show people what's good about your product.
And there are some merchants that are offering their own video because that takes care of the branding aspect of it. They're branded well, and they're designed by professionals to convert well, and giving the affiliates access to that in the different networks through different tools. So you can completely make your own videos branded the way exactly you feel comfortable, and then give your affiliates access to put them wherever they want. And we've seen that the conversions have been very good on that.
How much time do you guys spend prepping for your shows, for each shows? How much time prior?
5 minutes.
Yeah. Sean and I do our affiliate thing every Monday morning. We just switched our time a couple months ago, and for me, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I usually pretty much start at 10 of 7 to decide what we're going to talk about. I mean, we get on IM, and we have a quick thing, and it's like, okay, let's talk about this, 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 and this, and since both of us know what we're going to talk about, know our subject matter, it just goes.
I'd say we spend about 5 to 10 minutes talking, sometimes longer depending on how long it's. We don't do our podcast every week; it's every other.
We spend maybe 5 minutes getting the topics down, but about 45 minutes is gossiping before we record it. But you don't want to hear that podcast.
You're making us sound bad.
You know what, though? I actually think, if people are being honest, if you're a subject matter expert and you could talk about a lot of your topics right off the top of your head, or you're just offering opinions, but if you are interviewing someone that you respect and are taking the time to come onto your show, I think it does take some time to go back and maybe if they've written a book, you should have read the book or at least read the summaries at the end of the chapters. You definitely should go visit their site. You definitely should talk to other people about that person if you can and learn some things. And I think it's good to have about a few minutes beforehand before you actually go live and really have a conversation about what's going on in their life. And you'll get some anecdotal. I think you can learn a lot from folks like on The Tonight Show or Letterman, where you know that the producers have asked a bunch of questions in advance. And so then they can casually mention, oh, I understand you're a skydiver. And then the person can go on about that. But I do think you have to put some time into it, particularly if you're not an expert on that topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think one really good example of that is Missy Ward has a brand new show called Big Mouth Strikes Again, and it's an interview series. And if you listen to it, she's got great questions for people, and she's obviously done her homework with these folks. And but it always comes off like very casual and very interesting. And I always think those are the questions I would have asked them. And then she has a set of questions sort of that she asks all of her guests. So it's really nice to see their response to that. So I think that, there's a lot of preparation that goes into that. But something like Sean and I, we just sort of run down a list of what we're going to chat about.
We normally have like 5 topics, and we try to spend 5 minutes on each topic, but it ends up being we spend 10 minutes on one, and then whatever topic we left off, that's the subject for the next podcast.
And we also have a couple of forums that we go to that we ask people questions. We say we're going to do a podcast on email marketing. What are your questions? And then we incorporate those questions into our podcast. So the prep time, you might not include that or think about that, but the preparation takes more than just a few minutes before we sit down. And we also have whiteboards that we list out our topics and questions and make sure that we try to cover all of them.
Yeah, even when I say that we take 5 minutes, we're constantly all week, because our show is very topical on what's going on, we all week are looking for things to talk about. So it's not just the 5 minutes before the podcast, it's all week.
We'll share a document online. If something happens and we know we're not recording till the end of the week, we'll just put it there so both of us will see it.
Yeah, just put a little nugget aside.
Well, I was going to say, it brings up a good point too, which is for all of you to consider is, well, how much time do I really have to allocate to something like this, especially if it's not specifically designed to make you money. And I think that that's important because you have to weigh it against what are you spending your time on elsewhere and not get yourself overcommitted for one, and not make promises like we're going to do this every week or we're going to, and you can't do it. So I think going into this type of a situation, maybe giving yourself a little extra room because it is more time consuming than it might appear. And there's post-production as well for you do have to do your show notes, you have to edit, you have to FTP, which for some people take longer than others. But anyway, so I do think it's important as you're thinking about getting into this, we encourage you to do it, but we also encourage you to be realistic about how much time you have and how long it takes.
The key is you can keep it simple and just do it. Just go out and do it. If you don't do it, you're never going to get to the point where you can really use it.
And
so
don't
just
worry
try
about
it.
frequency.
Yeah, but on the flip side of all that you guys have been talking about, I know, Scott, you put a lot of work into the production that you produce. I know Jay's podcast has several different clips and cuts. It's very edited, and a lot of time is spent putting into that different type of podcast. And I think they're just different. I mean, some are shows more like podcast. I don't know how to describe it. Whatever time you have, but at least just do something. Just try it. I mean, it was construction, right? It was demo, right? So demolition. I mean, how cool to do a 10-minute show on the topics of demolition. Blow some shit up or something. Excuse me.
I would say respect your audience's time as well. If you have the time in a week to research 5 minutes of good content for a podcast, make your podcast 5 minutes. You don't need to stretch it out into 30 minutes of 25 minutes of useless crap that they don't care about. Unless you're entertaining them and they like that, and everybody will find an audience based on things that your audience likes about you as a host. But just be respectful of the time and say what you need to say, get the content out, and then just be done with it. I think your audience will appreciate it.
We have a question over here.
In regard to video podcasting versus just regular podcasting, if you are concerned about the mobile audience, are those of you doing video also adding in just the audio for people that might not be compatible with watching video, or how are you making the mobile audience compatible with your video?
I haven't done it yet, but what I always wanted to do if I had more time was when I did the Daily Flip, I'd do the video show and I would edit it in Vegas. And what I wanted to do was dump out the video track and then recompress it just with the audio track and then load that up as well. But it's just time consuming. I mean, it's extra time out of your day prep for your show. So if you have a virtual assistant or an intern or a marketing team that can do that, absolutely, I would do that. Just offer the audio track as well. Because people complain, they're like, I don't want to watch your video for 15 minutes. I'd much rather just listen to it while I'm working out or something.
Well, so if you have to choose between the two, which would be a more compatible, would the audio be the better way to start if you want to be broader range?
I've done
with
both.
audience?
So, it depends on your goals. I mean, visually for me, people like to see me and I get business because I build a lot of trust from people. So, no, I mean, it's good. When people buy from people, right?
Right.
So when they see you a lot, that's what I mean. I don't, but...
You can put a picture on the post that the podcast.
Stop it.
No, finish what you're saying.
No, that's it. I mean, one's easier than the other. Some people, when you put the little flip cam on them or any camera, they go like this. Right? But some people can look into the camera and do good stuff, and some people are just really good on audio. I just try them both. Again, I mean, it's the same thing Peter told you this morning. You just got to go out there and try stuff. There's you can make a million mistakes. And I always say there's no mistakes in this stuff. I mean, like you guys said, I mean, the first shows that I did on the Flip were horrible. Some of the Geekcast shows we did an entire...
Some of the Geekcast?
Well, we did an entire Geekcast show. It was like an hour and 45 minutes, and it didn't record. So it was just like completely lost. We're like, all right, and that was it. And a lot of mistakes happened.
I had one more thing to say. To reference again to what Peter said this morning, that you have to ask your audience what they want. So if you're doing, for example, there is a podcast on Geekcast about mobile marketing, that would not work really well as a video podcast, because obviously the people who are interested in mobile marketing are probably going to be listening to the audio, maybe on their mobile. So that wouldn't work out so much. But if you find that you have an audience that's very mobile savvy and wants to, go ahead and look into doing both. But if they're like, oh no, the video's fine, then stick with the video and put your time to something that's better used for your time.
Okay, I think we got somebody back there.
You guys have any more beer?
You have to ask a question, and it can't
I
be
do have
about
a
the
serious
beer.
question. Wondering if any of you guys explored possibilities of converting your podcast to text and looking at ways of monetizing your text.
Okay, we're not giving a beer for a question that's already been asked.
Oh, I'm late, I
I'm
guess.
gonna give you a half a beer for that one only.
I'm not
But-
thirsty. Thank you.
Actually, I tried that a while ago, and I was doing a lot of video.
I mean, I think we said that a lot of people find that there are folks who want the written version of it, but transcribing things is pretty time consuming. So making it into text is pretty time consuming. So most of us just do a show notes sort of format.
If I had a lot of money and a lot of time, I'd transcribe every single show, full text transcription. I'd pay somebody to do it. I'd also offer a complete MP3 download that would go to iTunes, and I would have a complete video version of it as well. But, you know, we're all running businesses or whatever, and we don't have time to do all that stuff. But if you have a virtual assistant, that would be my dream to do for every single one.
We do know someone that actually did that. They took their old archives of like 5 years worth of podcasts and radio shows, and they are currently putting them all up on a blog. And again, you either need to use a service, or you can't do it yourself. You can't listen and type out what you did. You really need to get a service to do that.
But I was going to say there's a service, at least one, I know of several, but Jott.com. It's JOTT.com. And I think it's a monthly fee that you pay. I know a lot of internet marketers use that, where they take the recording, and I think in some instances you can just play it right onto the phone, and then they send you an email with the transcription, and then you probably would edit it. So that's one thing. And I know there's some other services out there, so you just want to look them up on the net and find them. And I would, if that's something that's of interest to you, then I would recommend it. And the other thing is if you don't do the full transcription, at least you can do portions of it, and then you can monetize that with links in it to maybe you made a recommendation of a product. So, but look up Jott, and I know there's more. I'm sure you can find them, and I would recommend that.
To add to that as well, sometimes as a podcast consumer myself, I'll go to a website where they've transcribed their show, and I end up reading the whole, transcript of the show, and then I find myself saying, well, why am I going to watch this or listen to it? I got it word for word. And if you have any sort of sponsorship, or you're running any sort of advertising or promotion in the actual podcast, that gets lost. So you have to ask yourself, do you really want to offer it word for word so that people read it and they may not consume the audio or video? Or do you want to break it down into just some detailed show notes with links, and it gives them just enough of a snapshot so they know what the show's about? They can click to links of things you're talking about, but there's a little bit of mystery left in what it is you're actually saying.
I also think that as somebody who listens to a lot of podcasts, that it's far less compelling to read a transcript of it. I mean, so much is lost in the intonation and people's voices and stuff.
It's like reading the closed captioning on
yeah,
TV in a bar when there's no sound.
For me, I'm not interested in it at all.
If I was to do that, I would use a service called elance.com, and it would probably cost about $20 to get your whole thing transcribed. You can find somebody to do it for you.
Jay, question?
More of a comment. I actually used the method you talked about and recorded a presentation I made at PodCamp, and it was called 10 Tips for Launching and Promoting a New Podcast. So you can find that at 10goldenrules.com. And
he's my hero, everyone.
And you can download the slides. Of course, it's all for free. So there's a podcast recording of how to podcast and promote the show at 10 Golden Rules. Just click on the podcast link, and it's episode 13, number 13.
Thank you. No, I mean, that's good stuff. I've listened to that. It's really good information. And Jay actually should have been up here. He needs a show on Geekcast.
Yeah. I'm on Geekcast.
Are you? Are you rebroadcasting it on Geekcast? But it's not an original show. It's the duplicate
No, but
of
it's
your
there.
show. Anyone else have a question? We have one more question. Great.
Once a show is recorded and uploaded, how is it that you get audience for a particular show? I mean, why is it that one show will get 10 people listen to it, another one will get 10,000?
Well, I think that all the people involved here have blogs or are on Twitter, use Facebook. I know that Sean and I do a show together, but you guys also have some auto stuff through a Geekcast Twitter ID, don't you? That will also automatically send it out to anybody who's subscribing to Geekcast. So I can send it out myself on Twitter. Sean often sends it out. It goes out through the Geekcast Twitter. He'll blog. He always blogs about it and mentions what was in the show. And I usually try to do that as well. So, and all these folks have blogs and ways of communicating with people.
Blogs,
It's all
Twitters, forums.
Yeah, it's also because, like I mentioned earlier, it's a WordPress powered site. There's the RSS feed. A lot of people get the RSS feed. It is syndicated through iTunes. And once again, because we're all on the same Geekcast.fm network, that brings some traffic with it just because of the other shows.
Yeah.
So other shows beget the other shows, and you come to listen to Affiliate ABCs, and you see what is Affiliate Marketing Fanatics, and you want to listen to that to see if you're going to like that, and that could build the audience that way.
Well, and the other thing is good
we've got,
content.
We've got Missy here. You're supposed to use the mic, though.
Mike.
We need a mic for her.
On the way on the other side of the room.
Run.
Yeah, that works really, really well. It does.
We'll do one more.
Hi, what's a lot better? It's a streaming audio or an MP3 download for the podcasting?
You're gonna get people that vary. Some people like to put, like me, I put it on and I'll work and listen. Like I'll listen to the affiliate thing while I'm working,
Yeah, same here.
multitasking.
Me too.
But there are people who adamantly will never ever listen to a stream. So give them both. Just don't even consider an option. Just give a stream and a download link.
Hey, just a quick follow-up on that. How do you track, can you track the downloads and that type of thing?
What I do is I use like a Bitly.
Okay,
to
and
track
within WordPress, the PodPress software it gives you statistics, so you can see how many were in your iTunes, how many were downloaded, and how many were listened to right there on the page.
I think that's really all we have time for. Are we bumping? I thought it was 4:15.
Is it?
Well, the bosses are in here. What do you guys say?
Confirmation?
I'm going to the Yankee game. I gotta go.
Well, you could leave.
Well, for those of you who
As long
asked
as you're here.
questions,
No, I'll leave.
if you've asked questions, of course, you're welcome to come up for a glass of beer.
Let's
didn't get one
just do
already.
some parting words. I mean, the thing that I want to say the most to people in the room is there is a huge payoff for doing it. Find somebody who's in this industry with you and just start something and just try it. And you can really see some serious success happen from it. You get in your niche audience, people want to hear from you. They want somebody to lead. They want somebody to come online and do something different. And it will differentiate you from all of the competitors you have, because if you're just saying they're just bloggers or they're other people, they're competitors vying for attention, and you want to get their attention. And this is a great way to differentiate yourself. And you guys got some final tips before we close?
Yeah, you don't need a lot to start. I mean, Trisha and I, we're on two ends of the coast. She's on the west, I'm on the east. It's Skype and
it's
Pamela's the recording.
Yeah, the only
that's it.
thing that we bought is I upgraded my mic for $30, and we bought a program, Pamela, for $40, and that's so under $100, and you can have a podcast. If you already have that stuff, you don't even need the money, like the extra money to start. That removes that barrier of entry for you, and you can just get right in. And we use Audacity, so I don't mess it up again, which is a totally free program, and it's got free add-ons to let you export to an MP3. We use CN Levelator. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah.
Levelator.
That you just put the WAV file into, and it levels out the voice. So there's a lot of free tools out there for you to use in terms of production, and it doesn't cost us anything. You know, Sean is very gracious in terms of being on the Geekcast.fm network to host our podcast, so that's another barrier of entry that's gone, so it's easy.
My recommendation is, if you think about content development and what it is that you should do your show about, is listen to other shows And think to yourself when you think, I wish they would have talked about this, or I wish that this was a topic that was coming up and it's not, or survey comments and questions that you see after people have listened to, and that, you know, they'll say good job or whatever, and they ask a question. Those are great tips for you to figure out what kind of content should you be covering, and then go out and interview somebody and ask the question that didn't get asked. And if you're intimidated about how many times you're going to put the show up or whatever, just do the one, and don't say it's a show. Just say, I did this one interview, and you know, here it is, and then maybe you'll do the next one a couple months later. But the point is get yourself involved and make it simple. But that's my recommendation for content development, is look for something that's not out there that you would have found interesting and talk about it.
And I think you'll also be surprised at like the other aspects of personal branding. At the show here today, I had like 6 people walk up to me based on the fact that they heard me talking to somebody else, and they were like, I know your voice. And so people would like come up to me, and so now like people know what I sound like.
Yeah.
I would just say to just do it. Just get it out there, because if you're not doing it, your competitor is.
The other thing too about the getting started thing is, don't start your first one thinking it's going to go online. Like I said, we did our first one and we were like joking around and talking about stuff, and we ended up talking about things that we thought were relevant. And we're like, should we put this up? Should we not? All right. And then we put it up and people liked it. And when I wanted to start another podcast and do it by myself, I did like a little 5-minute. I just did a little 5-minute introduction saying this is what it's going to be, and I'll start doing it soon. And we don't do on a regular set schedule. We just do them when we feel like them. Like if it rains and NASCAR gets rained out, we do them all on a Sunday afternoon. We'll do like 5 podcasts, and then we spread them out when we put them up. But just don't be afraid. Just sit there and record something and not think about it going online. Just think about doing it, and then after you play it back, you'll find out that it wasn't so tough.
Anyone else? Scott?
Content is king. Have something good to talk about, and if you have a good show with compelling content and you have a personality that people find interesting, you'll build an audience, and that's just really as simple as that. You can promote it all you want, and if you're promoting something that's not good, you'll get people to listen once, they won't come back. But if you have really good content and you can engage with your audience, your show will grow to their audience.
And I want to thank everybody for coming to this, but I especially want to thank Sean and Missy for Geekcast.fm, because it's been a pleasure to work with them and deal with that service, and they make it so easy. And I recommend all of you get a podcast. Start a show.